Not really sure what the hell I'm supposed to do with that. Rico looked at me. I'm like, that ain't my idea. I looked at Rico. Yeah, no, not yours. What the hell was that? What was that, like a riff on one of the zillion
free time
podcast things they do here?
We all heard the spot the other day, and we were like, what the hell is this podcast about Harlem and corrupt cops? I said, you know what? I think I should be on that podcast.
Perfect. Yeah, my dad has a tanning bed.
Yeah, we did things. We had drugs
in the Tecumseh area.
Saw people.
All right, well, here's the question.
I packed a 9.
I have a question for the people as we start a Friday. And it's a holiday weekend, so we'll try to have some fun. But it's so frustrating. How much more are you guys going to take? I mean this when I ask it. You know, yesterday we were only on for a little bit because of Tigers. Big win by the ball club. Pennant chase. 2 out, Maton adjusted. But the fallout from the Steve Yzerman thing, which is, you know, you're girded for war, you're ready to go, and nothing. And you get the Steve bots versus those of us with common sense. Now, what's going to happen is the Steve bots will make straw man arguments. Well, we're not ready to win a cup. Nobody said you are. We're not ready to go all in. No one said you need to. When you're $8 million below the salary floor and you don't have any frontline scoring and no free agent has come here in 20 years, and really the trade market's way better than the free agent market based on the fact that if you're a Red Wing fan, how much longer are you going to be patted on the head and told, yeah, well, we don't care about you. We're just going to, take our time. Patience, trust in Steve. If you're a Pistons fan, how much more are you going to take? How much more are you willing to accept where you're like, yeah, I trust in Troy and things like. The whole plan for those two teams, Rico, this summer is you got to take a step forward and you got to add legitimate players.
Yeah, this was supposed to be the summer of splash, where both of them were going to come out and get something, that face, that name, something to help take this from just being awful to just mediocre or good. Not great. But so far, nothing.
Oh, no, they got Tommy Yakamoto. Oops, they cut him.
Stevie just basically said, yeah, we have stuff, but I'm doing this at my pace, not yours.
So that's why I asked the question. Yeah. Troy Weaver gets on the microphone, talks about, outside of saying talks about being a home run hitter. And what have we done? Just sat there and did what we always do. Made a couple of picks, and now free agency comes around. Now, I'm not saying you had to go get John Collins. Could have. You chose not to. It's all right. You flirted with DeAndre Hunter. You didn't get it done. And now, if you read some local reports, I don't even know if they're in the Cam Johnson business. And at that point, if there's not an offer to Cam Johnson by 6 o'clock, you just fire Troy Weaver. Get him the hell up out of this town. Like, what the hell are we really doing? You're telling me a 25-year-old doesn't follow the timeline? A stretch four, a 40% three-point shooter, a guy with a relationship with the coach. Oh, by the way, you spent $100 million on a head coach? Like, if we're sitting here with Steve Yzerman in the 5th year of the rebuild, and I don't care how some of you idiots want to spin it, that somehow it's magically delicious and it's not year 5 because he had to clean up Kenny Holland's mess. No, it's year 5.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask him to win in year 1. I didn't ask him to win in year 2. I didn't even ask in year 3. I was hopeful this year would have gone better. It didn't. And only now am I trying to apply some pressure to go, you know what? Show me. Yeah. But if you're a Red Wing fan, a ticket holder, someone who just watches the game, how much more are you going to take? How much more patience do you have if you are a Pistons or Red Wing fan? Because as we currently sit here right now, I'm terrified at both off seasons. And if you believe Steve's got big moves to make, hope you're right. But I haven't seen it. And after that comment the other night, sure doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, the comment was, I don't know what was worse. Was it Weaver saying, I'm going for the home run and I'm swinging for the fences and not? Or Yzerman just saying, yeah, guys, I'm just not going to spend money to spend money. I'm just not going to make moves to make moves. Both disheartening. I guess for Weaver, you kind of got a little bit of excitement thinking, okay, Troy, this is your day. You're going to do something at the end of the night. I told you. I was kind of like Kenny for the draft. I'm not going to get angry until this thing is over, until I see the lights shut off, and the lights were shut off, and you came away with 2 guys.
Well, now you're waiting. And again, the shopping starts tonight at 6 o'clock when NBA free agency opens up. We should be hearing about a report today that the Pistons are making an offer to somebody. They're one of the only teams in the league with money. Yeah. Why am I reading about scrub-a-dubs like Max Strus, like DiVincenzo?
Because for some reason,
Torrey Craig,
they've decided that they want to be the people who help bail out the league. So if you got a bad contract, we'll take that contract.
Yeah, but we just saw the Atlanta Hawks, who are mandated to get under the tax. They could have landed DeAndre Hunter if they wanted him bad enough. They didn't. Yeah. They could have had John Collins for free. Nah, you don't have to love either player, but I'm making an example. Every time I see one of those deals happen and you're not in it, I think I have a right to question it. So here's the deal. Whether it's baseball, hockey, basketball, I can't say football because Brad Holmes is the only one who seems like he's taking this serious.
Well, see, I would just say this for Scotty Harris. He hasn't been even on the job 6 months. I would take him out of the equation. I would just leave this at basketball and hockey. Because even though we want him to do something, especially if they're 2 games out.
We're in a pennant chase.
He just got here.
We're in a pennant chase. Listen, no. How about this? I'm asking him to do the least.
Okay, fair.
I'm asking him to collect pop bottles and redeem them for, like, Pete Incaviglia's dead body. That's it. That's all I'm asking.
He's still looking at swatch patches for the wall.
I know. But the other guys?
Yeah.
I'd love to know. I'd love to know how much more patience you have left. I mean, I don't know where Kenny's at. Kenny's emotional today. He let the door shut in my face as I was attempting to walk in the studio. He's not in a good mood. He is in a lovely floral shirt. I mean, Kenny, I know you're not going to comment on the Pistons side of it. You're the Wings guy. How much more patience do you have left?
Well, my expectation going into this season was the Red Wings need to make the playoffs. It wasn't a lofty expectation, and I think it's a pretty valid one for year 5 of a rebuild. Is that unfair in any way?
No.
Okay. So to do that, the idea would have been to grab a top-line scorer. They have failed to do that. Now comes the free agency part where you piece a team together. They could still make trades. The opportunity to make trades is not done. So if nothing is done in that regard by the end of this free agency period and they find themselves floundering again this season and they find themselves out of the playoffs for, like, remember when they had that 5-minute playoff stint?
18 hours.
18 hours, right. If that's all we get next season, man, my confidence might just be shot. And I don't think that's unfair.
No, I don't either. And look, the draft does represent the most ammunition you're going to have to make trades. Let's be real about it. Dealing picks right now gives teams immediate return on their investment. If Stevie goes out and makes a trade and you're offering the Bruins pick next year, well, that's far less valuable than this draft, which was deep, which had quality. Right. You had 2 first-round picks in 3 seconds. You did nothing with them. And nothing you drafted here is going to help you in the next 3 years.
No.
And on the Pistons side?
Now, you didn't even move up to try to get the guy from Russia. You just kind of said,
dark man.
We're good.
And again, for Troy Weaver, we've given you the math. We've talked about the salary cap. We've talked about how the Nets won't be able to match a formidable offer on Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson's the perfect player for this team. Cam Johnson has a relationship with Monty Williams. Cam can come here, improve you defensively, offensively. He fits a need.
He's your shooter.
He's a stretch 4. It really allows
There's literally no competition in front of him.
Correct.
I'm sorry, Rico. Go ahead.
I was about to say, yeah, he's going to start immediately because you don't have this on your team. You got a bunch of backcourt people. You got a bunch of retired centers.
I just want to know how much more people have left in the tank. Like, how many more years are you going to talk about, well, Steve's building a great foundation. A foundation for what? That it's going to take 5 years to become a playoff team? Forget about the Stanley Cup. A playoff team. Half the league makes the playoffs. No one's talking about winning the President's Trophy. Pistons, same deal. Half the league makes the playoffs. No one's talking about going to Eastern Conference Finals. We're talking about putting a product on the floor or the ice, respectively, that any of us care about. This idea that you get an endless runway, it befuddles me. that some of you are able to get out of bed in the morning and go, it's all okay. We'll eventually get there.
Well,
How about a standard?
Well, how about this? But these are the same people that got upset when Holland came out and said it's going to take 10 years to rebuild this team.
Well, Steve's on that plan.
Right.
Because if you're waiting for the young guys to come up through the system and be in year 2 or 3 of their time, you're in year 8. Let's face it. You're in year 8. Whether it's Evanson, Sofenstein, or whatever Kenny's guy is, Casper, Kosa, you're waiting for all those guys?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll be in year 8.
Yeah, that's an 8-year plan for all of those guys. And by the way, those guys have to absolutely pan out if that's the plan,
well,
which is a whole separate
that's
issue.
That's the other thing I always laugh about, Kenny, is I love having prospects, but there is a huge bust rate with this.
So the only other idea that I could possibly have is we've turned that draft capital into assets. So my only thought is, hey, we have all of these young pieces now. Those could be part of a package bundle trade. And this is me hanging on to the last little shred of hope.
But you have
that
a
I have.
right to. I'm not mad at you for doing that because I'm right there in the lifeboat with you that, like, all I need to see is a first line 30, 40 goal scorer to pair with Dylan Larkin and move this thing forward. Otherwise, Kenny, I don't know where your scoring comes from.
No, that's my exact concern.
And if you're a Piston fan, if I have to hear about how this core is set and how, guys, you're fooling yourself. Oh, you think you got a big 3, huh? You think it's all set that you don't need to participate. You think Dante DiVincenzo is going to save you. Max Strus is going to save you. You think you don't need to go out and actually get a really good ball player. I don't know how to help you.
See, and that amazes me itself when you hear the fans say that because Troy Weaver put the target on his own back by sending that letter out.
That's
and
right.
basically saying this has to be an impactful offseason.
I'm thinking maybe.
But he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah, maybe you just end up bringing Jeremy Grant back.
That cannot be impactful in my mind.
Do
That's
me a
not.
favor? Do me a
it.
favor, and I say this with all the kindness in my heart. Get out. Please, kindly leave.
Hey.
Kindly leave for what you just said.
And if anyone.
Kindly leave.
No, I am reading. Like,
Kindly leave.
him and Tobias Harris are two names that they're looking at.
And if anyone is
Get
working
out.
at the airport and you see Jeremy Grant, tell him to go back to where he came from.
That's right. Put the blocks underneath the wheels of the plane. Stop.
Was this your limo driver?
No, because it's the most
I understand.
Piston-esque thing ever.
Right, and I'm reading like, wow, Jeremy Grant, you're bringing him back. Wow. Or Tobias Harris to help Philly out. Yeah. But I'm leaving. I'll see you guys Monday.
Get out.
Have a good show.